Hey folks, David Stewart here. So I'd like to take a break from my normal content foci to just focus on book publication over the next week or maybe two. And here's why. If you've been following along with my WriteStream University series, which happens every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, I've been doing a 6-week course on how to write and publish a book. And we are on the fourth phase, which is book publication. And I realized looking at that phase that there's way more information about that phase than I could cover in a single live stream or even 2 live streams. So what I wanted to do was make a very extensive and direct and easy to follow series on how to take your completed manuscript from manuscript to finished and completed book. And indeed, this is the first video in that series, which will be an overview of that process and giving you some information that you need to think about before we dig into every single step. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on, and hopefully that will be useful for you. If it's not useful for you now, maybe it'll be useful for you in the future. Before we get into exactly the process that I'm going to recommend and I'm going to show everybody how to do, we need to decide, or you need to decide, what pipeline you're going to try to go down, because there's TradPub and there's NewPub. TradPub is traditional publication, which for a full-length book you would find an agent, and that agent would then represent you to publishing companies and hopefully try to get you a deal publishing your book. If you've been following the WriteStream University, we've been writing a short book, which makes it kind of an odd area. That's something that you could possibly submit to a literary magazine, but those are very, very few these days. And if you're writing a 25,000 word book, it might actually be too long for that format. So what I'm going to be focusing on is NewPub, which is what I do, which is independently publishing your book. That's going to be either hiring a cover designer, designing the cover yourself, putting the book on to the platforms that you're going to sell it on yourself, managing that like a business or like an entrepreneur. There's quite a bit that goes into it. However, anybody can do this if you're able to master the steps, and it's actually not that hard. It's just a little bit overwhelming if you've never done it before. Once you've done it, it can actually be a pretty speedy and pretty smooth process overall. So in general, you have to look at the process as a series of steps. So if you're starting with your manuscript, which you should have completed by now, the first thing that you actually have to think about is the market that you are going to be putting your book in. What categories it's going to exist in Amazon. We're going to focus mostly on Amazon. I'll show other platforms as well, because those are part of the game, but Amazon is the biggest player, and therefore it's the one that you should probably have the most concern for. So we'll look at that market research, and from that market research, we're going to determine what kind of cover we need to have on our book, what kind of pen name we might want to have, whether it's going to be a pseudonym or just a variation of your real name, and I'll talk about some specifics for that. We'll talk about basic cover design in a variety of genres and how to determine if you're going to hire a cover artist, whether their cover design style is going to fit the genre that you're in, and if you're designing a cover yourself, how to actually get one that's going to fit into your genre and be good enough to sell your book. And then I'm going to talk about, basically, some easy ways that you could create a book cover if you're going to go that route, like really simple, easy designs that almost anybody could make look okay, and some basic design elements that will help anybody be able to make at least a basic level cover for most genres. I'll talk about how to format your ebook for publication, because there are some things you have to do. I'll be using Microsoft Word for that, but if you want me to use another program, let me know, and I'll try to come up with a tutorial for maybe like OpenOffice or something like that. But most people have access to Microsoft Word. I actually format my books on Microsoft Word 2010. Basically a 10-year-old copy of the software, but it still does everything I need it to for ebook formatting and print book formatting. So that'll be the next step. Formatting your book for print to make a print-on-demand paperback like this that's available through Amazon, formerly CreateSpace, but we'll do it all on Amazon for this one. That will also distribute to the other big name stores like Barnes & Noble. If you do expanded distribution, you can actually buy my paperback books on Barnes & Noble, but it's Amazon's company that actually manages all of the back end on that. So I'll show how to do that. I'll show you how to turn your ebook cover, if you buy an ebook cover or design one, turn it into a full wrap that goes all the way around and has everything on it to be a full book. That's a step. And then I'll talk about how to actually offer it for sale on Amazon, and then every other platform. For this, I'm going to say that we're going to do Amazon separately from all the other platforms, and we're going to do all the other platforms through probably Draft to Digital. You could also do it through Smashwords, and I think there's a couple other programs that will manage distribution to a large number of retailers. So I'll go over that, each of those steps, how to set it up, how to set up your keywords, how to get your book into the correct category for your book to perform correctly. There's actually some hidden things that aren't obvious if you haven't used the Kindle platform before. And then how to possibly make your book perma-free as a way to generate a mailing list, and how to set up a mailing list. And lastly, that'll be marketing strategies, and that'll tie up everything. That's a lot of steps. That's why I don't want to do it just in a couple of live streams. I want some dedicated content that people can search and find and get some really specific answers to before we dig into the live stream. So thanks so much for watching. Leave me your concerns down below, what maybe you are anticipating having trouble with, what is unclear to you about what I mentioned in that particular list of things, what's unclear to you about going the indie pub route, or any other questions you might have about maybe trying to do the other lane if you want to. So let me know. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Don't forget the right stream is Wednesdays at 6 p.m.